Ever heard of a country where you hire strippers for funerals? Or a place where you can't lean against walls or celebrate birthdays at night to avoid being haunted by ghosts? This is the dark side of Taiwan. Taiwan, or the Republic of China, is a separate island from China located at the junction of the East and South China Seas by the Taiwan Strait. In the early 1600s, Taiwan was self-governing and had no ruling authority. It was colonized by the Netherlands for 40 years and then was independent again for 2 decades. China finally gained control in the late 17th century and ruled until the Sino-Japanese War in 1895. In that year, Taiwan was occupied by the Japanese and made into a colony. After Japan's defeat in 1945, the territory was returned to nationalist China. Mainland China itself was experiencing political turbulence at the time. There was a conflict between Chinese communist and nationalist forces which concluded in 1949, at which the nationalist government lost the battle and fled to Taiwan to establish the Republic of China. The Chinese government in Beijing maintained that it has jurisdiction over the island and continued to implement a one China policy. Many countries are now still disputing Taiwan's legitimacy, and there has been no agreement on whether or not the two entities will reach an agreement to separate or reunify in the future. The country experienced a setback in its economy after World War II ended. It has an unfavorable land-to-population ratio, lack national resources, no capital, and a discredited government. Taiwan finally recovered in the 1960s before undergoing a downturn in 2008 due to the global recession. It's now recovering slowly, and its main industries consist of farming, mineral exploitation, and manufacturing. Taiwan is now considered a high-income economy, and its transition from poor to prosperous was dubbed the Taiwan Miracle. Taiwan's 2022 GDP is estimated to be $828.66 billion, giving it the 21st ranking among 192 nations in the world. Their GDP per capita is projected to be $35,513 in 2022 and can be as high as $45,820 in the next 5 years. Taiwan is also ranked 4th largest holder of foreign exchange resources and 12th in gold reserves, with 548 billion and 423.63 tons respectively. All these factors signal a stable and growing country. A unique fact that's not found in other parts of the world is Taiwan's funeral strippers. That's right, in Taiwan, someone's final farewell can turn into something joyous. According to some reports, the tradition started around the 1980s, when gangsters controlled the mortuary industry and offered strippers from their clubs to mourners at a discounted price. But this practice is now spread throughout Taiwan and became a common addition to funerals. Usually, the strippers are dressed in skimpy bikinis, bum-skimming skirts, and high heels. They will gyrate along caskets and on top of electric flower cars. Electric flower cars are mobile stages that carry performers, which is another unique addition to Taiwanese funerals. One of the reasons for the use of strippers is to attract more crowds to the funerals. According to Taiwanese tradition, lots of people in attendance signify honor and status for the recently deceased. The tradition has spread to neighboring China as well, where it was not met with open arms. Officials in China announced they will be working alongside the police to crack down on pornographic performances for good, including funeral strippers. Another well-known fact about Taiwan is its nuclear power plants. Taiwan's power disruptions from the shutdown of one of its main power sources, its nuclear power plants. Taiwan's nuclear energy journey started in the 1970s, triggered by the oil crisis. The premier, Chiang Ching-kuo, presented the infrastructure projects that integrated nuclear power plants into its grand strategy. The industry reached its heights in the 1980s as cheap and stable nuclear power supported Taiwan's industrial development. But the country became wary of the effects of nuclear power plants due to incidents in Chernobyl in 1986 and in Fukushima in 2011. Large-scale protests against nuclear power demanded an end to its program. It seems that Taiwanese citizens are not all in agreement when it comes to nuclear power plants. Although Operation Shutdown is already underway, about 60% of their people voted against the phase-out policy in 2018. But in 2021, a survey was conducted to ask the public whether or not the construction of a new power plant is needed. This time, 59% of the people surveyed voted against new constructions, finally solidifying the shutdown of power plants. The shutdown has also resulted in massive power outages that affected millions of households due to the new power plants not being able to meet demands. It seems that safety issues are not the only factor in Taiwan's nuclear shutdown. Another side effect of having nuclear power plants is nuclear waste. One particularly sad case is the nuclear waste dump site of the Taiwanese island of Lanyu. The government stored thousands of barrels filled with radioactive waste produced by nuclear power plants and didn't inform the natives. Many thought it was a pineapple cannery or fish cannery. It was not until the 1980s that the news broke out about the truth about the nuclear dump site. A similar case also happened on Orchid Island. This could endanger the lives of the people on the island. Many have dubbed the management of nuclear waste in Taiwan as careless. The methods that the companies used to incinerate nuclear waste were outdated and poorly managed. Instead of using a plasma torch that could reach 15,000 C, the power plants used diesel fuel incinerators only meant for general household waste. This is why there are higher background radiation levels in the greater Taipei area. The government also discovered in 2013 that one of their nuclear power plants may have been leaking radioactive water for 3 years. Taiwan's industrial growth is not without its sacrifices. One of its downsides is the level of air pollution. The country is even ranked worst among its peers of Eastern Asian tigers: Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Korea. Their capital's PM10 annual average, which is the concentration level of fine particles that can cause difficulty breathing, has reached 47.1 micrograms per cubic meter. That makes Taipei ranked 1,089 among 1,600 cities around the world. It also has dangerously high levels of PM2.5 fine particles, with an average of 20 micrograms per cubic meter. This is far above the healthy level set by WHO at 10 micrograms per cubic meter. The particle is far more dangerous than PM10 as it can cause lung cancer and other diseases related to lungs and heart. According to research in Taiwan, air pollution caused 320 deaths in 2022 and cost the country around $380 million that year. The country has given efforts to lessen the levels of air pollution, but other factors such as climate conditions have made it difficult to curb air pollution. There are also high concentrations of pollutants from China that worsen Taiwan's conditions. If you're planning on visiting Taiwan, there's something you need to pay close attention to: giving the right presents. Taiwan is a country that still holds superstitious values, leading to various rules when it comes to gift giving and receiving. On the list of taboo gifts are clocks, scissors, knives, white flowers, and giving in multiples of 4s. Clocks in Mandarin sound similar to end, which means the receiver's end of life. Scissors and knives mean a breaking off of a relationship, so you should only give it to someone you don't like. White flowers have a similar meaning to clocks, as it's present in funerals, while giving presents in multiples of 4 gives the recipients bad luck. There are also unique rules when it comes to handing over your gifts. You should never open a present in front of the giver. You should receive the gift with 2 hands, and you should refuse the gift a few times before accepting it. Another cultural aspect of Taiwan that's heavily correlated with superstition is their Ghost Month taboos. In Taiwan, during the start of Ghost Month, the gates of hell open, giving ghosts access to humans. The month falls on the 7th month of the lunar calendar. The ghosts are evil, hungry ones who were sent to the underworld to suffer an eternal state of hunger for their misdeeds. During this period, there are several taboos you need to be aware of if you don't want to anger the locals. The list of things not to do during Ghost Month are opening an umbrella indoors, hanging wind chimes, hanging clothes to dry at night, going out alone at night, going above water after 5 p.m., burning incense or praying at the temple, buying a new house or car, tap or whistles at night, leave chopsticks standing upright, and take pictures at night. Failure to follow the rules means you'll be haunted by hungry ghosts and experience bad luck soon. Taiwan is a country that managed to keep moving toward modernization while still keeping its traditional cultures. Let's hope the country solves its environmental and social issues to overcome its dark sides.